Hello and welcome to Grow Your Own. I'm your host, Ross Middleton. I know it's been a while since you've seen me. There's been a lot going on. It's now like March 11th, 2024. So it's the last video I think I posted was probably in 2023. So like early in 2023. So anyway, we've pulled up stakes, moved out to Nova Scotia. We're living on a little spot called Sluice Point, and we're right on Borks Cove. And Borks Cove is right at the mouth of the Tuscan River where it flows into the Atlantic Ocean. So that's southwestern Nova Scotia. Beautiful climate here. It's very mild, and you hardly even get any snow here. And if you do get any snow, it melts in a couple of days. So that's pretty awesome too. I don't miss the snow. Anyway, let's get started. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to take seeds. We're going to start germinating the seeds, and then we're going to put the seeds into peat pucks. And I'm going to show you how to do that. I've already started soaking some seeds in paper towels, and we do have some starting to sprout. So I'm going to get some of the sprouters and put them into peat pucks. I've got 24 peat pucks. I don't know if I'll end up with 24 plants, but I'd like to because these are regular seeds. I only use regular seeds. I don't like using feminine seeds because they can turn hermaphrodite on you and self-pollinate, and I sure don't want that happening. So when you sex them, what I do is I put the little seedlings when they get to the third set into a box for 12 and 12, like 12 hours on and 12 hours off, and then take them out after about a week and let them go, and then you can tell which ones are male and which ones are female. But that's going to be a future episode. We'll be seeing that too. All I need is 6 plants. I've got a medical permit for 6 plants, and I'm going to grow 6 right on Borks Cove. You're going to love the scenery, and you're going to love this series, and this is episode 1, so let's get started. Okay, so here's what we got. I've got my little compact fluorescent 4-bank going. Compact fluorescents are really good lighting, especially for starting plants. I've got my Jiffy 7 peat pucks. They're all hydrated with water, pH balanced. I've got my seeds all germinating in these paper towels. So I keep them moist, you know. And they've been in there for a few days, so there are some germinating right now. And I'm going to take those and put them into the peat pucks. And you see I've got 6 rows, so I recorded which ones are which. So you see the numbers, right? And these are the strains. So there's a Clean Chemo, one that I made myself. Another one that's what we call Keith Richards, and my son actually bred that one. There's Strawberry Gelato, that came from a nice fellow named Carson, who was a customer at BMA Hydroponics. Got another one called The Candy by Exotic Genetics, supposedly one of the best breeders out there. And then Snake Venom, which I bred myself, and Super Sour Diesel, which I bred myself. So there's 3 that were bred myself, 1 that was bred by my son, and 2 that were bred by others. I only use regular seeds. I don't like feminized seeds, so these are all going to be regulars, and they're all going to require sexing. So how do you sex? Well, it's hard to when you have a big window. You know, it's hard to get 12 and 12 darkness. So I put them into a box when they get to about the 3rd set of leaves. But we'll cover that in a later episode. Right now, it's just having a look to see how many are ready to go here, and we're looking for a tail. Let's see what we got here. And you can see there, you can see all the ones with tails. See that? So we're going to take some of the ones that have the tails, and we're going to put them in here. And these are going to be, this is going to be row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that will correspond with the numbers that I've used here. So I've taken a skewer and I'm making little holes in the top there. And that's the hole that we're going to drop the seeds down into. So each one has now had a hole put in the top, and we're ready to start dropping in some seeds. And because of the age of some of these seeds, you get different germination rates. So for example, the number 1, which is the Clean Chemo, not getting a good germination rate there, but we do have a couple that have cracked, so I'm going to put those in. Some of the others do better. So a lot of it depends on how old they are and what kind of conditions they were stored under. I always try to keep them stored at room temperature and dark and, you know, sealed up so no air gets to them. And those are the important things, because the shell gets hard if you let air and heat and all those things get to it. So again, it's tail down into the hole, okay, and then just cover it a little bit, just a little bit of peat over top of it. Gives it something to push on, so that it's going to kind of drive the root down and push the seed head up, and it'll shed that seed when it pops up through the surface. Unfortunately, that's all I've got to do today. I've got 2 rows here that still have nothing in them, and that's because none of these are germinated yet, so I'm going to hope they germinate. If they don't, they will be replaced by the other strains which are germinating, of which I've got some good ones here, and I've got some over here. So we will be filling them all. I'm hoping I do 6 strains, but if some of these seeds are just too old to pop, then that's just the way it goes, and we'll be doing 6 plants of say 4 different strains or whatever it ends up being. I've covered everybody back up, and I'm just gonna give them a little more moisture, a little more time. It's probably about 23 degrees Celsius in here. I've got a baseboard here right behind this rack, and I've got a separate thermostat inside this room, so I can keep this room segregated basically from the rest of the house at a certain temperature, and I've chosen 23 degrees Celsius just as a good germinating and seedling growing kind of temperature. So keep them moist, don't let them dry out, keep checking on them. I'll come back tomorrow morning and check and see if anybody else has put out any tails on basically number 4 and number 6 are the ones that seem to be having a hard time, and they are of course the Candy and the Super Sour Diesel. So we'll see how it goes. Oh, and by the way, before I leave for today, I just wanted to show you what I'm using here. I'm using Super Thrive. It's a really nice little seed starter, and it's also really good to mix into the water. So I've mixed a little bit into the water that I'm spraying right there on the seedlings, so that as soon as that tail pops out, there's just a little teeny bit of food for them to kind of nosh on while they're sprouting. And of course, same thing with these pucks. I'm also going to use the Super Thrive in theirs, and again, it's just a nice mild little feed. And of course, once you put them in there, it's always good to just give them a little bit of water, just so that they're nice and hydrated down under the soil. So that's what I'm doing here. Good morning. It's later in March now, probably going into the last week of March. It's been about 10 days since I put those seeds in that had all the little tails on them. And you can see I had a pretty good success rate, but again, these were seeds that were somewhere a decade or more old, so like over 10 years old. And when seeds are that old, the shell tends to harden and get very hard. Normally I would take an emery board and just kind of slide the seed across the emery board just to scratch the outer surface so that the water can penetrate and get a better germination rate. But I had a lot of seeds, so I didn't do that this time. But however, I did end up losing a couple of strains that did not sprout at all. So I end up with 4 strains. So I've got 4 different strains in here, but I've got some nice looking little seedlings. I've got, I'm going to say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I've got about 16 or so that I know are going to make it. And some of them you can, if you look closely, you can actually see there's actual roots coming out the sides. So it's getting time now to transplant them into solo cups. So I'm going to take these solo cups and I'm going to drill holes in the bottom of them, and then I'm going to use those to get them up to a point where I can actually sex them. So when they get to about their 3rd set of leaves, you put them in a box or a dark place for 12 hours, and then take them out for 12 hours and put them back in for 12 hours. And you do that for about a week. And then you take them back out and put them back under 18 hours of light. And after a week or 2, you'll start to see they'll put out little female hairs or little male balls. And then you know who the females and males are. And then once I've got that figured out, I'll take the best females and I'll put them into the 1-gallon pots. And those will be the 6 that I'm going to put outside. So out of all these plants, I'm just looking for 6 females. That's all I have to get is 6 females, and I'm good. So I just spray them lightly with the spray bottle to hydrate them. If you look closely at this seed, you'll see the little brown piece on the end there. That's part of the skin from that goes around the food leaves. What I call the food leaves are these little ones down up underneath here that you can see that one's kind of turning yellow, and that's why they're called food leaves, because they actually help to feed the seedling until they get their leaves. But this one was unable to bust through these skin that covers those food leaves under the seed. So this is another result of having seeds that are very old. So let's just go around and just hydrate some of these. You know, you just spray and spray and spray and hydrate them all. So this is always a good sign when you start to see a root coming out the bottom, the peat puck. That's a really good sign, because that means that they're really taking nicely. And again, let's just see how many we got here. Like, you know, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'm gonna say I'm gonna have 16 or so that are likely to survive, and that'll be the 16 that I will put into the solo cups, get them up to their third set of leaves, into the box for 12 and 12, and then out of those, hopefully I'm going to get 6 females, and I'm pretty confident that I will. 6 is all I need. So I just refilled the water bottle. Kind of lucky here in this part of Nova Scotia. The soil's pretty acidic. More acidic than, say, it is in Ontario, you know, and plus we're on a well, so there's no chlorine in this water. So a couple of things you got to watch out for if you live in an urban area and you have city water. Your pH could be as high as like 7 or 8, and you've got chlorine in there. So what I always did when I had chlorinated water was I would have a container, you know, a bucket or whatever, and I would just leave it and let it sit for 24 hours, and the chlorine would gas off, and then you've got good water, and then you'd add some phosphoric acid to bring the pH down to between 6.5 and 6.2. So I'm going to let this sit. I'm going to let it come to the ambient temperature in this room, the water, and then once it's the ambient temperature, of course, it's ready to go as far as feeding. And that's why I do a good watering before I do this. It gives it time to do this. Then I will put the appropriate amount of Super Thrive into that bottle, which it says it's 3 milliliters per gallon. So, you know, I'm talking about like maybe a milliliter or so into this bottle to give them a little bit of food. So the next step I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these solo cups, drill the bottom, and that'll get them ready. I'll take them outside. I've got a bale of Sunshine Mix number 4 out in the carport, and I'm gonna put some Sunshine Mix number 4 into these, and they will be ready then to transplant my chosen seedlings, of which again I'm hoping I have, you know, minimum 14, maybe maximum 18. But we'll see how we go. Okay, so I'm going to try to do this one-handed, but I'm taking basically a normal drill bit, and I'm just going to drill like 4 holes in the bottom of these cups. So there we go.
Why pay more for inferior cannabis? Grow your own quality cannabis for less and know what you're getting. Talk to the good folks at BMA Hydroponics and learn how to grow for pennies a gram. They have a huge selection of products and the know-how to back it up. Remember, at BMA Hydroponics, their motto is, your success is our success. Call 613-967-9888 for more information, or visit BMA Hydroponics at 404 Maitland Drive, Belleville.
The only way to go. So you can see I went all the way through all of the cups, and there's the hole. So there we go, all the cups, all drilled, ready to go. So we knew when we moved to Nova Scotia that there would be times when we had power outages. I mean, we're in a pretty remote area out here, and really there's been a big power outage here. There's like 100,000 people without power all across Nova Scotia right now, but yeah, we have a Generac, and we got that on purpose because we knew this was the kind of thing that would happen. So right now, we're running on the Generac. My plants have lights, and if you don't have a backup, you're in the dark, and you really don't want your plants in the dark. It affects their whole metabolism. Just get a Generac. Okay, so that's it for now. Cups ready, water ready, plants growing. Everything looks fine in here. And again, this would not be lit up right now if we didn't have that generator out there. So thank goodness these aren't in the dark. So it is now March 25th, 2024, and I've got my seedlings plugged into the solo cups. You can see I've got 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I got 15 nice seedlings. I did keep a couple of the stragglers down there just in case one of these wants to give up the ghost. I've got something that I can back it up with. But 15 should be plenty to be able to sex and get at least 6 females, which is what I'm looking for. So out of all of these, when I sex them, all I need is, you know, less than half of them to turn female. So that's it for today. Now the waiting game begins. So we're just going to let these take hold, get up to about their 3rd set of leaves, and then I'm going to put them in a box for 12 hours and take them out of the box for 12 hours and put them back in, and I'm going to do that for a week, and that should trigger their flowering cycle. Then you take them back out and put them under the 18 hours of light, and it'll put them back into a veg state, but you'll see the hairs or the balls. So that's where we're on our way to right now. Again, it's late March. Probably going to take them a week or maybe 2 to get up to their 3rd set of leaves. So that's going to put us into probably the 1st week of April, or around the end of the 1st week of April, before I can start sexing. So as long as by the end of April I know who's female, we're good, because May is planting time. April 2nd update. Here we go. Looking pretty good. I'd say everybody's doing just fine. Even old weirdo over here had all twisted leaves. It's starting to kind of straighten itself out. Sometimes you get a little genetic defect, you know, and they're a little weird, like sometimes people are, but he's coming back, or she's coming back. Yeah, everybody's looking quite good. I'm thinking probably another week or so, and I'll be ready to put them into 12 and 12 for a while and see who's who. Still got a couple of little backups. Good morning. It's Saturday, April 6th. So let's see how things are going. I think they're going fantastic. I mean, I gotta tell you, this Schultz orchid food, 15-5-5. I mean, those are the important things: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. High nitrogen and young plants go together really well. You can see they're growing like gangbusters. So I'm going to be probably putting these into a box for 12 and 12, probably within the next 2 or 3 days. And I'm going to probably put them in there for about a week, 12 hours in, 12 hours out. Do that for a week, and then you put them back under the 18 hours of light. And after a week or so, they'll start to show you hairs or balls. And then you'll know who's female, who's male. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get 6 females, and that's all I need. So let's have a look at the label here. Total nitrogen 15, available phosphate 5, potash 5, and then some minor nutrients like manganese, zinc, copper, boron, and EDTA. EDTA is not a bad thing. It sounds like it might be a bad thing, but it's a chelating agent. And chelating, or chelating, some people say, just helps your plant to absorb those nutrients. It's kind of primes the roots and gets them ready to take it up. It's Sunday, April 7th, and things are really starting to actually move ahead right now. You can see these things are really kicking into high gear, really looking good. Thanks to this Schultz orchid food, which is absolutely fantastic for these young plants of any kind. So forget the orchid, I'll take the 15-5-5, and it's working great. So what we're going to do is we're going to put these into 12 and 12 starting today, or starting tonight, I should say. And what we got here is we got a box. Wait, just get down here. I got myself a nice big box, and got myself a little slide that I put in there. So I'm going to put all these plants onto that little slider. I'm going to slide them into the box. I'm going to close the box up, and then I'm going to throw a little blanket over top, make sure there's absolutely no light getting in that box. And I'm going to leave them in there until 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, and then I'm going to take them all out and put them back up here, and I'm going to do that for 7 days, and that will trigger flowering So there we go. Box is ready. Plants are all on my little slider here. I'm just going to take this, slide it into the box. And roll away. Okay. And then we're going to close up the box. And away we go. So there we go. Blanket over the box. Make sure there's no light getting in there. 8 a.m. tomorrow they come back out. Okay, it's 8 in the morning. Time to get lights out of the box. Out comes the blanket. And let's see what's going on here. Okay, let's go. That thing. It's hard to do with one hand. So we just put everybody back where they came from. There's one. And two. And three. So you get the idea. Okay, so everybody's out, and you can tell it looks like they kind of grew overnight, and they will do that as soon as they sense that they're in 12 and 12. They will then go into a growth spurt before they flower. That's what happens at the end of the year. And it also happens when you're sexing them. So something else I noticed, that as they're getting bigger, they're drinking up the moisture a lot quicker. So I'm gonna have to start watering them more often. But wow, I think they literally grew overnight. What do you think? Right now I'm using an old coffee can for watering. So I put 2.5 liters in this, and then I put the appropriate amount of Schultz in the water, and then I water them. So I'm gonna go get some water. I'll be right back, and I'll put some Schultz in there. Got my water. I already measured out. I put 2.5 liters measured into this, and I know that it's up to this. The second from the top ring is 2.5 liters. So that's my unit of measure. Now it's time to put the Schultz in. So give it a good shake. Always give it a good shake. If you got any kind of liquid nutrient, you should give it a good shake before you use it. So in this case, 2.5 liters equals 2 eyedroppers full of Schultz. So just make sure I get it all out of there. And there's 2. Just kind of clean it out a bit with a bit of water. There we go. Give it a little mix, and then we'll start watering. I'm kind of winging it here. I mean, I'm kind of short on supplies of different things are still packed in boxes and whatnot, so I'm kind of making do. So I cut one of the solo cups down a bit, and I use it as a scoop so that I can then water the plants with it, right? And here we go. I could tell they needed watering because when I took them out of the box, they were really, really light. So when they're really light, that means there's not much water left in them. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead, finish watering everybody, and that'll be it till tonight at 8 o'clock when I put them back in the box. Good morning. It's Sunday, April 16th, and it's been the last night, the 7th night in the box. So let's get them out of the box, set them up on their trays, and that'll be it for the 12 and 12. Oh, good morning, girls. Well, hopefully you're all girls anyway. But let's get them out of here. Yeah, and I said they'd go into a bit of a growth spurt. And as you can see, they've done exactly what I said they would do. So there you go, under 18 hours of light and 6 hours of dark again. Look how much these have grown just in the last 7 days or so. This is what they do when they detect it's 12 and 12. First thing they do is they grow into a growth spurt. You can see the long distance between the sets of leaves, and that they start to cluster sometimes too at the top. You see how that's kind of clustering at the top. That means it's getting ready to put out flowers. So we're going to be looking for hairs, and we're going to be looking for balls. Balls are males, hairs are females. So we'll see what these are going to do. They're going to continue to grow in the growth spurt. It'll probably be about a week or so before they really are identifiable as far as whether they're male or female. I'm looking for females, of course. So now we wait. I'll come back and show you when I start to see some signs, and I'm liking that one over there. I'm thinking that might be a female right there. I like the way that one looks. You can tell because the males will get a longer distance between the leaves. They tend to shoot up faster and taller and be lankier and stuff like that. But, you know, it's not a 100% way to identify. The only way to truly identify is to look for those hairs and balls. Anyway, we'll see you next time. Well, it's 4:20. Yeah, April 20th. And I've identified 3 males for sure here. Quite obvious on that one. Got them over by the window. I figured I'd let them, don't want them to take up space under the light. Hey, everybody else seems to be doing pretty good. Definitely found some females in here. I don't know if you can see the hairs in there or not, but there's hairs in there, and there's hairs in there. Still waiting for the rest though. So far, not too much from the rest, so I'm hoping I don't have to put them back into 12 and 12 again. But yeah, anyway, we got 3, probably 4 females for sure, and I'm still questionable on the rest. So we'll wait it out and see what happens. Good morning, it's April 27th, and look at the difference. I've moved the plants out into a larger area. I got the big Hortilux light out with the 4200K CMH bulb, 315 watt. 4200K is for veg, and 3100 or 3200 is for flower. So that's a veg bulb, and that's what I'm trying to get these plants to do. They did start to get hair up pretty good, so you know, you can tell they're all female, which is not a problem. And I've transplanted them into 1 gallon pots to give them the room to grow. So first thing I'm going to do is raise that light up a bit, because you can see it's getting close to the light here, and that's getting pretty warm. Although the CMH lights are quite cool in comparison to something like a high intensity discharge HIDs, but they still have some heat that they throw off. So things are going great. I'll let you know when we have some changes. Okay, light has been raised up. See, we got a little more space now down here, not too hot for the plant down there. That's always a good test to see how stressed your plant is. If you put your hand up there, and if it's uncomfortable for your hand, then it's uncomfortable for the plant. For example, if I get up to here, it starts to get pretty warm for my hand. So that would be uncomfortable for the plant. Down here, not so much. So that's it for today. I'll give you an update, hopefully in a few days. So right now these plants are on 18 hours on and 6 hours off. When I put them outdoors, the days are probably not going to be that long, like maybe 15, 16, and 8 or something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to gradually shorten the light on period. And the way I do that is just by, you know, plucking up a couple of these. There we go. Get that one back down there. So that took probably about half an hour off, and I'll kind of just gradually shorten the days by half an hour at a time, so I don't trigger any flowering or anything like that. And that's what I'm trying to avoid when I put them outside, because if they're under 18 and 6 in here and you put them out under 14 and 8, then that's a sudden change in the photo period, and that can trigger flowering. So I'm going to try to avoid that by slowly shortening their day. Having more than you need is always a good idea. So I still have some plants under the 400 watt T5 fluorescent lights, and see, I've already identified 2 more females. So I have some backup plants. It's always a good idea to have a backup plan just in case things go wacky on you. So if I lose any of the other 6 that I've got out under the bigger light, then I've got backup plants here that can take their place. Always have a backup plan.